And this is a solar mason jar by LampLust. I want to show you real quick how you can go about removing and changing the battery on this, and then we'll look at the actual unit itself. The inside has the solar charging panel here. There's RGB for cycling through colors, and then there's YLW for yellow, and then off in the middle. Even if I turn it on right now, it's not going to turn on because it only turns on when it's dark. And obviously there's a lot of light right here. But if you would like to change this battery out for a higher capacity battery, it comes with the 600 milliamp NiCad in it. You can change it out for a larger NiCad or for a NiMH battery. I like to take this little diffuser off first just to make things a little easier. Be careful. It just has two little plastic pieces that fit into these little rubber holders here, but you've got your LEDs right here, so be careful not to pop those, knock them off or anything there. Now on the inside here, you're going to bend this out and you're going to get a lip that pops up, and this lip on the solar cell actually fits in all the way around in this little rubber groove, and you can see the groove that it fits into. Once you've got one side loose, it's pretty easy to get the rest of it out. The rubber, of course, is pliable, so you can just move it around. Now inside you need to be careful. The wires are all just soldered on the LEDs here and soldered onto the circuit board. But there's your battery right there, and from that point you can just pop this battery out and then replace it with whatever you would like to replace. Obviously do not put a non-rechargeable battery in here. That is not going to work. It'll work to power it, but if you try to charge a non-rechargeable battery, you're going to have some problems, and this thing will charge whenever you've got it sitting out in sunlight, even off or switch to either of these two options. So make sure you don't do that, and as long as you put another rechargeable in, you should be good to go. Put it back in, you're just going to kind of work it back into this little groove here. Again, once you've got it started, you can kind of bend the rubber around, and then we're good to go again there. I'm going to stick this diffuser back in the bottom. Just kind of pull it back a little bit to make it fit over it, and you are good to go again. Stick it back in your sun jar, and you are ready. So now let's see if we can get it dark enough in here we can actually see what this thing looks like. Alright, so we now have our sun jar. It is dark enough here. I'm going to open the lid up. I'm going to switch it on to yellow, and you can see how this thing glows. It's got a real nice diffusing pattern to it. It's much softer than it appears on the video. There's not one bright light right in the middle. It diffuses throughout, but you can see it puts off a decent little bit of light. The video is compensating a little bit, so again, it's not that bright directly in the center. It's actually more of an orangish color. But still, a lot of do-it-yourself ones that you make at home out of pathway lights, garden lights. They'll have one bulb in the middle, and it's a really bright spot, and the rest of it doesn't glow down all the way through the mason jar. This one has a lot more even tone to it, and that's because of that plastic diffuser on the inside. Let's switch this over to the RGB mode. I'm going to let you watch and see just kind of how it cycles through these colors. Notice it's a smooth transition. It doesn't just jump immediately back and forth between them. It does ease in and ease out of each of the colors. Some of these colors are a little harder to see. That's a yellow, that's a white going to a blue, and then it'll go from there to purple. It's a pretty deep purple, actually, much deeper than it shows right here. Then from purple it's going to a lighter pink. And then from that color, it'll go into a real deep red. Again, this is a that was like a deep fire red. Now that's a green. It's a very brilliant green, like a laser pointer green. And now it's a real deep royal blue again, going back to white and back to yellow. So it's cycling through the colors there. There's a lighter blue. But again, much smoother than what they appear on video. There's not a big bright spot. The colors are much more saturated looking. But it's just the fact that since this is the only light source in the video, it's showing up very brightly in the center. But hopefully that still gives you a good idea of how it transitions and how long it takes to get through each of them. Trust me, if you think the colors look okay on this, you'll like them a lot better in person because they're much more soothing looking, much more diffused, and just kind of the whole jar taking on that soft glow, not a bright spot in the middle. So that is the Solar Mason jar from LampLust.